Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is my review for Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead, a franchise of which I'm a big fan of. I was really looking forward to this film. I love of course, the originals on the San Raimi, who just did such a great job with those. And I even enjoyed the Freddy Alvarez version a couple years back, the remake, whatever, the reboot, whatever it was. It kind of was more of a typical horror film, much more darker than some of the Evil Dead stuff in the movies and even the TV show that came out a few years ago. But it was still enjoyable. So I was really looking forward to this one, see what it brought to the table. I heard a lot of good things about it. So naturally, my expectations were definitely through the roof, and to the detriment of my enjoyment of the film. And I'll get to that in a second here. But here we have this movie really focuses on, of course, a family, three kids, a mom who going through some hard times. They have to leave their apartment. The father left them recently. The sister, who's older, doing her thing, comes back to visit. Not due to some unforeseen circumstances, some natural disaster, if you will. And I'll leave it at that. One of the kids ends up finding the Book of the Dead, and finds some records, and the records are priests, talking about the book and yada yada yada. Of course, and unleashes the Deadites anyway. And of course, one of them possesses the mother, who then begins to terrorize the family and others on the same floor in the apartment building, and all hell breaks loose. Pun intended here. Now this one here, listen, this one wasn't as great as I wanted to be, and I'm not gonna fault the film. It's because my expectations were very high. All the things that I heard, all the gore and all this other stuff. So that doesn't mean, let's not get it twisted. It doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the film. It's not a good film. It just didn't meet my very high expectations. But that being said, this is a really cool, fun, entertaining film which harkens back to the Evil Dead 2 days. Straight away from the kind of the classic, more horror tropes that we saw, like in the remake, for example, and gave us something in a hybrid of both, right? But definitely much closer to the Sam Raimi version, and that made me happy as hell, man, because that's exactly what I wanted to see. This movie is not your typical horror film. It doesn't rely on the cheap jump scares that you get a lot, which I enjoy. Don't get me wrong, but we've seen this 1,000 times. It doesn't rely on just setting the mood or the tone. This movie is a visceral horror feast. Is what this movie is, right? A lot of creepy visuals, the way it's shot and filmed, the movements of the main character. I thought she was great, portraying the possessed mom and all that. And things really come together because there's a lot of homages to the original series, of course, which I won't spoil. There's even some scenes that are just remind me of Sam Raimi and how he shot some of this, and particularly one scene involving an eye, and I'll leave it at that. But that scene, you laugh because of what happens, and because the Evil Dead, particularly the second one, even Army of Darkness, although that wasn't quite a horror film, really just kind of gave us a lot of purposeful humor within the horror elements of it. And this movie does some of that, and some of the things that they say, and the movement, the way it's shot, things, stuff that I don't want to spoil it, but there's definitely stuff that you laugh at, but again, it's intentional. And you watch this on the right theater opening night, man, you're gonna have a lot of fun if the crowd is with it. The crowd I was at was really having a good time here. A lot of people were laughing and really enjoying and cheering and all that, and you can gasping at, because this movie is gory, not as gory as I initially thought, but man, there's tons of blood here. Blood rains down literally here, and there's a lot of it, a lot of cool scenes. And again, this movie doesn't rely on over the top death scenes. That's not really the movie is. There's a great sequence that's seen through a peephole through the door, which I really enjoy. Again, things like that, the way it's shot, that really kind of added more to this film that it probably would have under someone else's direction. And I really like that. And again, the fact that it's so much closer to Evil Dead 2 really makes it a great entry for Evil Dead fans who, that's what you want. This is what you're gonna get, right? Again, not overly scary, but it's not what it's trying to accomplish. It just wants to give you something that's viscerally in your face in terms of the makeup, the natural, of course, the prosthetics that they use, and there's no CGI, none of that nonsense. Again, some of the blood that goes on, it's great done in a way which you don't turn your way. You want to keep watching it, so it's not done in enough, which is too over the top or too graphic for someone who does not into that. So, but that being said, I really enjoyed it, man. That's a lot of fun. It's short, an hour and a half. It's very brisk. It does take some time to get going, but once it does, it's really good. Particularly with expectations that if you want something more akin to what we saw, back in the 80s, you're gonna be very pleased. And even if you're not familiar with the Evil Dead series, It's not a movie you have to watch, to see the other ones to really follow anything at all. It just could be just a standalone film with a lot of homages to the fans who are familiar with the original work, and how it's shot and some of the things that they show you. And again, I kind of want to spoil it, but I won't. But again, that being said, I really like this one. A lot of fun, great entertainment. Definitely recommend for you guys to watch it. Just again, this is not your classic horror film. That's what you're looking for. You want jump scares and all that. Look elsewhere. This is more just for a visceral feast for the eyes. You know, which is gonna bring a smile to your face. It did me, and I think it will for a lot of people as well. So definitely recommend for you guys to go watch in the theater. If you do, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.